y'all can hear me. Just because I'm on my Bluetooth, so I'm going to try to turn the volume all the way up. Thank you, everybody that is tuning in, that's going to tune in to another Chef on a Budget, Eat Your Way Healthy segment. It's Eat Your Way Healthy show, I always say segment. Speaking into existence, my actual syndicated show, which is something that is in the works. So tonight, for those that are tuning in, y'all don't forget to hit the like. Hit the like, hit the like. I actually need to share this with a few people. Give me a second. Hold on, yeah, I'm trying to share it to people on Instagram and it keeps kind of temporarily taking me out the live. Okay, so like I said, I guess it temporarily takes me out of the live when I go to share to other platforms. So as you guys come in, let me know how the volume is. I know that the background exhaust fan tends to be loud, and I have one on my Bluetooth, so I'm trying to speak loud enough to where you guys can hear me. But I'm also still getting over and healing a sinus infection, so bear with me. Okay, so this Chef on the Budget, normally what I do is show you guys the ingredients. I got everything at Walmart. So honey wheat bread, I think it was like $1.27. Next time I'll show you guys the receipt. I got Roma tomatoes. I think they were came to a total of like 79 cents. The Classico sauce, y'all know I only use Classico for cheese, or Classico or Bertolli. I think the Classico was like about $2.89, and the spaghetti was only 98 cents. And then the Genio turkey was, I think, $3.99, and the onion was like about 70 cents. So again, Chef on a Budget, Eat Your Way Healthy is showing you how to eat healthy on a budget and cook it like a chef. Probably should not have moved. I gotta redo all this. Okay, so the first part I'm gonna be doing is prepping the vegetables. Actually, what I'm going to start is the ground turkey. Let me start that first because I can center it while I'm prepping the veggies. So y'all hold on a second. So I know it tends to get a little louder when I'm by the stove, just because I'm like right by the exhaust fan, but I gotta have the fan on to, because once everything starts cooking, the steam starts coming out and all of that. So I'm using and y'all make sure to like the video coming in. I'm using stainless steel cookware. This is going to be for the ground turkey. It's actually already warming up, and the spaghetti will be over here. All right, so, and then I'm doing the garlic bread, old school way with the honey wheat bread. Matter of fact, I'll start it out. All right, so this should already be warm. What I'm getting ready to start first is cutting into the other thing you guys will always learn watching me, I'm a professional chef. So food sanitation and food safety is my priority. I never ever prep any sort of raw protein next to veggies. All right, and I see there's comments coming in the chat. I'll be right with y'all right now. I'm kind of still trying to get everything together. All right, so again, I'm using Genio ground turkey. This is an 85% lean And the reason I like the 85% is because ground turkey is already lean, and I want it to produce, you know, some of its own broth. Now, you have to be really skilled when it comes to knife skills and knowing how to cut through a package without getting part of the package in your protein. As a professional chef, I always use gloves when I cook and prep food. And you should never, ever, 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 ever use the same gloves that you use even opening a package of raw meat. Don't ever use the same gloves when you start prepping the veggies, because you're technically cross-contaminating. One of the first things I learned in culinary school, in culinary sanitation, was just that. And then I've worked in kitchens my whole life too. So you always want to make sure that you switch out your gloves. Always make sure you switch out your gloves. Even when it comes to, like right now, I'm breaking up. Let me turn the temperature down. I got a little too hot. I like to break up the meat, and I don't like huge clumps of the ground turkey in the spaghetti. And it's the same thing when I use ground turkey to make nachos and tacos. If you get ground turkey that's super lean, it'll come out really, really dry. So Jenny O brand, I pretty much only use if I'm making like either nachos or taco meat or spaghetti meat. If I'm making like hamburgers, then I'll get a better brand, because I want the brand that has the least potential to have anything mechanically in it. But Jenny O, you know, the texture is good. For the most part, I haven't had any issues with it as far as my digestion. Plus, as you can see, it breaks down really easily and it produces its own broth. So what I'm going to do is season the meat while it's cooking. Yeah, let me go ahead and season the meat. And then I'm going to get to the veggies. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit, just a touch of garlic powder, because I actually already made a seasoning blend, but I still like to do just a little bit of garlic powder by itself. Y'all make sure to like the video coming in. Thank you everybody tuning in. I'll get to y'all's comments in just a second in the chat. Thank you everybody that is tuning in. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you and welcome to Dee's World. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And always turn on your notification bell. That way you get notified every time I go live or upload. So I put just a touch of oregano. I'm going to save the oregano, the parsley, and the garlic for the sauce. And then right now I'm just going to use my seasoning blend, because my seasoning blend, I make these myself, has a mixture of everything. I do not use seasoning salts because they're very unhealthy. And they are the #1 contributor to hypertension, which is high blood pressure, which is something that runs in my family. And let's be honest, runs in the black race, because, you know, our race, we've been raised to use a whole bunch of like salts in our cooking. So instead of using like garlic salt or onion salt or Lawry's, which that's what I grew up on, I use onion powder, garlic powder. I do use Tony Chachere's as a base for, especially like my Italian seasonings or Cajun seasonings. That does have elements of sodium in it, so you don't need to add like any additional salt or sea salt. And a little goes a long way. So I'll use that, and I'll mix that with, I usually like to get fresh oregano and fresh basil and fresh sage. But given the location where I've been, the stores, their produce is just not. I'm real picky about my produce as a chef. So if I see that the produce is like old or looks like it's about to expire, I don't waste my money on it. That's when I use the dry herbs, but I normally use fresh herbs in all of my cooking. And I'll get fresh basil too. The fresh garlic, I had to stop using. I don't know what the stores are doing to it. I heard that they said certain people be soaking the garlic bulbs in like bleach water when they get in their truck, like their inventory truck, and that actually contaminates the herb, because garlic is an herb. It actually contaminates it. And I know the last few times I tried to use fresh garlic, it really triggered the GI conditions that I need surgery for. So I pretty much stopped using fresh garlic. I don't know in the stores what the hell they're doing to it, but I know I went to a store where I saw their palette, and yeah, I could smell bleach. So I was like, yeah, that's another form of cross-contamination. Mixing chemicals with food will absolutely trigger a foodborne illness because it creates parasites. So the meat is pretty much, yeah, the meat's pretty much all the way cooked through. What I'm gonna do now is go ahead and start chopping the onion. So I want to put the onion in while it simmers. And I'm switching out my gloves. These gloves are exclusively only for me stirring the meat. And new gloves for the produce. Again, you're going to learn sanitation on my channel. Just like this is exactly what I've done in restaurants for years. That's how I even got out to Houston. In 2012, I was asked to transfer out here to assist with new restaurant openings and to train the back of the house as a certified culinary trainer. Plus, I've worked in kitchens for over 25 years and have my own catering company and all that. So sanitation is something I'm really huge on. I recently experienced a foodborne illness after eating at IHOP one morning, and it was absolutely horrible. So I definitely take food safety very serious, and you'd be surprised the things that you don't know when you, like for everyday people that cook, you'd be surprised the things that you're not aware that are the cause of foodborne illnesses triggering and cross-contamination. And then I only use purified or spring water in my prep. I do not use nor do I consume tap water. And the water was like $1.30, I think. So again, this meal was definitely less than $10. And it's enough, depending on your household. If you're a single person, it's definitely enough to make dinner and have leftovers for a night or two, depending on how much you eat. And if you have a family and you've got kids or roommates or friends or spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, it's enough for more than one person. Now the tomatoes, this is just part of my prep. I always chop off the tops because I don't like to use any part of that. But I want to get the onion going because I want that onion to marry into the flavor of the meat before I add the sauce. I'm trying to find it. Okay, I'm gonna just use my knife. It's fine. And it's crazy, like, as many years as I've worked in kitchens, the kitchen managers that I've worked under that were disgusting, that never wanted to use gloves. I remember the one in Florida when I worked at the Destin Longhorn. And he would get so mad because he's like, you're going through too many boxes of gloves. I'm like, the gloves are here for food safety. Like, we're supposed to use gloves. And I never saw him use gloves in all the time I worked there. He would pick a raw steak with his raw hands, raw chicken, raw trout. And I said, you do realize you just completely cross-contaminated all those proteins. And if somebody has a seafood allergy, you doing that can trigger them having an actual allergic reaction from the food, because you're picking up raw shrimp and putting on the grill. You're picking up the trout and putting on the grill, and then you're picking up steaks and you're picking up chicken. Like, you're doing everything that you as a manager should know you're not supposed to do. And he would always brag about, you know, how fast his output was as far as plating. Well, if you're not being sanitary, who gives a shit if you're fast? Like, nobody cares if you're fast if we get a report that somebody had a seafood allergy reaction to the food at this restaurant, and then it only takes 2 people to make that report, and they shut down the restaurant. Literally, that's exactly what happens. It's called a foodborne illness outbreak. If just 2 people reporting that they had either an allergic reaction or diarrhea or nausea, that's considered a foodborne illness outbreak. And what they make you do, and it's the state that does it, they come and inspect your entire inventory and they make you throw all of it out. They make sure that you have all of your coolers, your reach-ins, everything is at the proper temperature. If it's not, you get docked for that, and you have to pass their food safety codes test before they even let you open back up. And unfortunately, I've worked at a restaurant where that happened because the kitchen manager was an asshole. He didn't want to listen to me. You know, the restaurant industry is very male dominant, and they hated the fact that I was a certified culinary trainer and kitchen manager. And not only did I know what I was talking about, but every violation, I called it out and I made them correct it. And he fucking hated me. So it's crazy remembering the people that I've worked under and with who should have known better, who did know better, but just because they cared more about the speed of the food coming out, they gave 0 fucks if they were committing cross-contamination and making someone sick. So it's amazing when I think back on all of that, and I'm like, bro, I would just much rather work in my own kitchen, because I know I'm going to be sanitary, and I know my food's going to come out well, and it's going to taste good, and it's healthy, and it don't cost a whole lot of money. And all I'm doing right now is just adding the onion to the ground turkey. That's fine. I think I can add just a little bit more. Since I don't have onion powder, I want the meat to have the presence of onion, but not in an overwhelming way. And if you leave the onion raw and like let it simmer, it's gonna overpower the flavor of the sauce. So the best thing to do is let the onion cook with the meat, but wait until the meat is fully cooked. Like, don't add it when the meat is raw, because what will happen is that'll actually contaminate the onion, and that can cause a foodborne illness too. Give me 1 second. The other thing with seasoning is that a little goes a long way. So when it comes to seasoning foods, you don't need to put a ton of seasoning. You always want to taste as you go. And me being sanitary, I actually have a pack of plastic spoons that I use to taste food. That double dipping shit is disgusting, just out the gate, but also the fact that I am getting over the sinus infection, I don't want to make anybody else sick who's going to eat. Yeah, that needs some procedure. I figured it would be. This is a little bit bland. Like, I can taste it, but okay, I'm gonna just pull the phone. Okay, guys, so here's the meat. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you, fam. So here is the ground turkey cooking with the onion that I just threw in there. Alright, and notice how I keep the produce gloves over here. Alright, so I feel like that's enough on the onion. All that's really left is just slicing the tomato, and because I want the texture of the tomato to be present in, like, through the sauce, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna toss the tomato in after like a minute or so. I want that onion to cook down and to sweat and chew the ground turkey, but I don't want the tomatoes to be like, you know, soggy and overcooked, because they're gonna simmer with the sauce. And again, I got the classical 4-cheese sauce. So the tomatoes are technically to simmer with the sauce. It's to pair the sauce with the Roma tomatoes. And the reason I got Roma tomatoes is honestly because they're the cheapest, and they're not super sweet, and they're not super tart either. So I'm gonna slice these kind of thick because I want the texture of the tomato to still be present after it simmers with the sauce. And like, unlike when I make pico. When I make pico, you know, I want it to, it's more of a uniform slice. Like, I want it to match the flavor of the onion. But with this one, I want like little small pieces of the tomato to still be present when you bite into, you know, eating the sauce. So slice them vertically in half. I always slice them again. And then I do like at least 3 vertical slices, because that leaves them really good and like chunky. And then again, when it simmers, it won't break down so bad. So I'm gonna slice them pretty thick. Like, I'm not gonna slice them small. And then after this, really, it's just boiling the, oh, I forgot to start the water for, let me do that before I add these. I forgot to start the water for the spaghetti. And that's really it, because the spaghetti is gonna boil in that like 8 to 10 minutes or so. The sauce is gonna simmer, and that's it. Other than that, I just gotta do the garlic bread. And it's old school garlic bread with the sliced bread, like how my mom made when we were kids. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Let me pull the phone down so I can give you guys a little bit more of a close-up. But see how the tomatoes, they're chunky. They're not like sliced super small. Andrew said, I need my own restaurant, fam. I don't want my own restaurant. Not at my age. I'm too old. I want to get a food truck for sure, but a restaurant, that's way too much. Now, if somebody wants to invest in a restaurant, I'll like open it and hire people to run it, but I'm not gonna run that bitch. I've been doing that shit for 25 years. I'm done. Those days are over. Alright, so again, I only use either spring water or purified water, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the spring water boiling, so that way the spaghetti can start. Because the sauce is not gonna take long, the meat's already done. And, oh, the onions, I'm going to show you guys, the onion is sweating really well. So hold on. So I'm going to let that start boiling. And again, spring water, great value brand. All of this came from Walmart. It all costs less than $10. Again, you can eat healthy on a budget. I'm trying to show you guys this for real. You can cook like a chef, eat healthy on a budget. It's good for your body. It doesn't break the bank. You can make it stretch, like you can have leftovers the next day. Again, if you're single, you can eat out. Like when I made this at my apartment, I would eat off this for like 3 days. Like literally, I have at least 2 days worth of leftovers. If you have a family, it's enough to stretch. So every time I jump on one of my Chef on the Budget Eat Your Way Healthy lives, I'm literally going to show you how to do just that. And it's going to be good for you. So now you can see the ground turkey. Gotta make sure I put that lid over there. Now you can see the ground turkey. See how the onions cook down, but it's not like shriveled. It's getting a nice caramelization on it. That's when you add the tomato, because I want the tomato to marry the flavor of the onion, right? So that's when you know it's time to add the tomato. So let me grab the phone water. I'm not gonna get this back and forth. Hold on. All right, so hopefully, let me pull it down a little bit. Okay, there we go. And I know the exhaust fan's loud, but it's okay. Because I'm done over there. The last thing I had to chop up was the tomato. So now you add the tomato. But again, wait until the onion is caramelized before you add the tomato. So now you can add the rest of the run of tomatoes. And again, y'all saw how small those tomatoes were. Those were less than $1 for all three. So the produce alone, between the onion and the aromas tomatoes, all of that was less than $2 altogether. And like I said, next time I'll show you guys the actual receipt, because that is also the point to Chef on the Budget, for you to see real-time prices. And eventually I'm gonna take you guys to the store with me too. Like the next time I go to the store and take you shopping and show you like how to select the produce, how to select avocados, how to select tomatoes. If you like to use like salsa verde, how to, select the tomatillos, how to select produce. Because a lot of people just pick it up and they don't realize there's a process to it. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, while the water is boiling for the spaghetti, hopefully, I'm gonna start the prep for, let me turn on the oven. I'm gonna start the prep for the, it's gonna get hot in here. I'm gonna start the prep for the garlic bread. I'm like, I know it's about to get hot. I'm probably gonna crack that window open. No, never mind. I forgot to turn this on. Okay, so let me pull the camera down. Now you get the close up, and you can see the onions have completely married into the ground turkey. They're translucent. That's the word I was looking for. When the onions are translucent, that's when you add the tomatoes. If you add the tomatoes too soon, they're gonna break down and be really soggy, and then you're gonna have like that soggy texture, which I hate. Soggy like tomatoes, which is a personal pet peeve. I don't like it. So this is the sauce for the spaghetti, or the beginnings of the sauce, essentially the meat sauce. I'm gonna let this simmer a little bit more. Make sure you leave the lid on so it can simmer evenly. I'm gonna check. Okay, the water's almost ready for the spaghetti. Now this spaghetti is the cheap one, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, this is the cheap one from Walmart, okay? The 98-cent one. So it's not broken down. I'm gonna show you the quick way to just break the pasta noodles in half. So let me do that. Alright. Because I know they have the ones you can buy that are like already pre-broken down, but hey, I had a budget when I went to the store and I stuck to it. So this is really easy. Go ahead and I may not even need the whole box of spaghetti, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to start with a half and see how much it produces. So pull your spaghetti noodles out, real simple. Break them away from you. Always break away from you. Break them in half, boom. And once it starts to boil, not right now, but once it starts to boil, I'm gonna put them in half. Now, you know what, I'm gonna just cook all of it. Because even if there's not sauce left, sauce can be made. Sorry about that. So the second one, break away from your face. I learned the hard way as a teenager. First time I broke spaghetti and it fucked me, like it popped up in my eye. And that's it. And again, all of this less than $10. So you get a meal you can eat possibly for 2 to 3 days for less than $10. That's cheaper than McDonald's. It's cheaper than fast food. It's definitely cheaper than DoorDash and Uber Eats, where they sometimes steal your food and fuck with it. And it's healthy and it tastes good. Okay, so since the water's not quite ready just yet, what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna move this over and I'm gonna grab the pan for, or actually, I don't really want to put that pan on top of that cutting board. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna melt the butter and I'm gonna pre-clean a little bit. And then the rest of the onion can be used for another meal. This can be used for anything. Quesadillas, pico de gallo, shit. I want to do a version of Jersey Mike's sandwiches. Their chicken Philly. That's really, really good. It could even be used for something like that. And then also, when there's time, I want to show you guys what I learned in culinary school about the proper way to store. And I was shocked when they showed us this stuff in culinary school. There's even a way to store food in a way that it doesn't cross-contaminate, believe it or not. So, let me grab it. So I'm going to use about, probably the rest of this. This is about 3 tablespoons. This is real butter. It's up to you what you want to use. Growing up, my mom used Blue Bonnet, which is, it's a cheap brand of margarine that actually originated in Nebraska, believe it or not. Blue Bonnet is a brand that was made in Nebraska, which is where I'm from. I personally like real butter because it tastes better, and to be honest, those like I can't believe it's not butter, or especially Imperial margarine is actually not healthy at all. It's like an artificial version of butter, and it actually causes triggers in hyperlipidemia, which is high cholesterol. So when it comes to things that call for butter, I use real butter. And you can use butter in moderation, but just don't use it like every single day. So when I warm things up in the microwave, I always cover them with plastic wrap. That way, as it starts to get warm, it doesn't splatter all over the roof of the microwave. And I warm things up 30 seconds at a time. That way, you know, you're not overdoing it. I'm actually going to check on the ground turkey meat. Okay, let me show y'all. It smells really good too. So the ground turkey meat is ready for the pasta sauce. Hold on. What's going on? It's ready for the pasta sauce. So I'm going to taste it real quick to make sure that the seasoning is on point. And if it's on point, I'm going to go ahead and add the pasta sauce. I'm going to reduce this down to low, and so that way it can reduce the temperature and start simmering. And now we see, now the water's ready for the pasta noodles. So let me grab the phone. Alright. So I got a whole pack of plastic spoons. So never double dip when you're tasting food. It's very unsanitary. perfect. And the tomatoes, like, the Roma tomatoes are giving it like a slight sweetness. Shit is good. All right, let me show you guys a trick. If you ever have trouble opening a jar, use the back of a knife because it breaks the seal. That's a restaurant hack. And I just added a little bit of the spring water to get the rest of the sauce. Want to make sure you stir it well. That way you fully incorporate the sauce in the meat. This is actually going to come out really good. Alright, I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic powder. I'm going to add a little bit of the dry parsley. I got on the Bluetooth, the one that hangs around my neck, so if you couldn't hear me for a second, it's okay. Alright, so sprinkling in some of the dry parsley, because I want all these flavors to marry as it's simmering. Alright, and then a little bit of oregano. I just remembered I forgot to pick up Italian seasoning when I went to the store. That was supposed to have been on my list. And I'm not going to add the seasoning blend because I already added that to the meat. You don't want to over season the sauce and then it's salty and then you ruin it. So before I put the lid on to simmer, I'm going to taste it to make sure that the flavors are balanced. And then I'm going to throw the spaghetti in. Perfect. Now you put the lid on, let it simmer. The water's ready for the spaghetti. I'm gonna throw that in. couple of minutes. I'm gonna turn it up just a touch because I want it to simmer a little bit faster, since I know that pasta is going to be ready soon. Okay. So now that the pasta is in the pot, set this here for now. Now, for the garlic bread, you want to make for sure, I always use parchment paper. Butter is good and melted. 30 seconds is all it took. And again, the wheat bread, all of this is from Walmart. That's why everything's great value brand outside of, now I'm a stickler when it comes to my sauces. My sauces have to be either Bertolli or Classico. I've tried other sauces, they just don't taste as good to me. Those two I like the most for sauces that are made, you know, pre-made and come in a jar. When I do get the chance to get the right tomatoes, I will do the sauce completely from scratch. Like actually allow the sauce to allow the tomatoes to simmer and burst and to turn into pasta sauce, but I don't have the time for that. So I like Bertolli and I like Classico. And this is just honey wheat bread, great value brand. Gotcha. You know what I can do? I can slice these diagonally. That'll be easier. Do that right quick, actually. Alright, so yeah, the diagonal slice is easier. So it's easier to get more onto the sheet pan. But I always use parchment paper anytime I bake anything, whether it's, you know, a protein, bread, cake, cheesecake, whatever. Parchment paper allows the food that you are baking to bake evenly. And it also helps with easy cleanup. Alright, so it should be enough. I think it should be enough. Okay, they're not ready though. Not quite. They're good. Now, usually I would use a kitchen brush to brush the butter into the bread, but I'm working with what I got. So it's just like a really small teaspoon per slice, and a little goes a long way. Okay, so actually, yeah, the 3 teaspoons was enough to cover all the slices. All right, so now I'm just gonna sprinkle just a little bit of my seasoning blend, the same one. Sprinkle a little bit of that. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven because I know that spaghetti is gonna be done shortly. Okay, I feel like that should be enough. There we go. Okay, so here's the close-up. And this is the garlic bread. Y'all make sure to hit the like on the way in. I will get to your comments in the chat. Thank you, everybody that is tuning in. And if this is your first time on my channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And turn on your notification bell. That way you get notified every time I go live or upload. Alright, so garlic bread is in the oven. I'm going to leave this here for when it comes out. So I'll probably toss a couple of pieces on there to taste it. And what I'm going to do next, pre-cleaning. Y'all know I clean as I know. Just makes life easier. Plus it's a habit. Alright, yeah, just give me for a second. I'm just putting up the seasoning because I don't need it. Alright, so I'm getting ready to drain the pasta noodles. And what I like to do, because I want to keep them warm, but I don't want them to continue to cook, I'm going to actually pour a little bit of water, the spring water, in the pot to cool it down a little bit. And then go ahead and rinse the noodles with the spring water. So this meal will take approximately 1 gallon of water total. Between boiling the noodles, prepping the veggies, you'll just only need like 1 gallon of water. Okay. And I'm tossing them to get the steam out. Because if there's parts where it's like, see how there's still steam in there, they're technically still cooking. And you want to stop the process of them cooking once they're al dente. Otherwise, they will overcook and you will have very soggy noodles. And I personally just don't like soggy noodles, which is why I'm also putting just a little bit of water in the pot, because I'm going to return them to the pot to stay warm, but not overcook. Alright, so now they can stay warm. You can put the lid back on, but they're perfectly al dente. Boom. Spaghetti's done. So I'm going to go ahead and give the sauce a good stir since it's been simmering. It smells really good. Go ahead and taste it, because if the flavors have married, then I'm gonna turn it off. Oh yeah, it's good. It's done. And see, it didn't take that long either. It didn't take long to make. So right now, get that here. They're hot. So right now, really, all that's left is just the garlic bread, which will be ready in just like a couple of minutes. And see, I want to do a close-up so you guys can see. See how the tomatoes are still present? They're not like, you know, completely like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Disintegrate. The texture is still there, the flavor is still there. It's gonna be really good. And I can smell how good that garlic bread smells already. So, yeah, sauce is ready. Pasta noodles are ready. All I gotta do is the garlic bread. So what I'm actually gonna do is some cleanup. I'm one of those chefs that likes to clean as I go. And just makes life easier. Don't need this anymore either. And then I'll get to y'all's comments in just a second. Spring water, I'm actually done with that too. All of this is gonna leave this loose. Oh, it's good. Grab that. Yes. 375 was the right temperature. It didn't take long at all. Okay, let me set this here. And if y'all didn't notice, I lined, even though I completely cleaned the kitchen before I started, I lined the countertop with plastic. It's a way to keep it sanitary, keep it clean. As well, it's easy cleanup. Okay, there's a lot of comments I missed. Hey Chelsea, good to see you. Yes, ma'am. I'm making spaghetti and old school garlic bread. Andrew, definitely good to see you. Jalen, good to see you. And there's a lot of new people. Thank everybody that's tuning in. Thank you. All right, so that's also the beauty of using parchment paper. It's very easy to transfer things. So now you see golden delicious garlic bread. And this garlic bread, the whole loaf was only $1.27. So I would say maybe the total cost of the garlic bread for the meal was maybe 40 cents. And look at how much you get. And it's nice and toasted and not burnt. That's also the benefit of parchment paper. Again, it shows you how it helps to bake evenly. So I'm going to try one. Very good. Very good. Now, in retrospect, I could have used a little bit more butter. As a chef, we're always looking for balance, and we're perfectionists. It's good, but they could have used a little bit more butter. Okay, hold on, you guys. So I forgot I had set my Bluetooth down. I'm getting ready to play. So let's see. Oh, yeah, there's something better to put that back on there. Andrew said garlic bread looks great. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, it's so easy to make. Like, for real. It's really, really easy to make. It doesn't cost a lot and it tastes good. Hold on, my phone stand, the little holder part keeps falling down. All right. So I'm gonna make the little ones straight first so we can pull down. But I want to show y'all this pasta noodles. Look how perfect they are. Not mushy, not overcooked, not hard. Perfect. And the noodles are still warm, but they're not clumped together. Like, you know, they're not all like clumped together and stuff. So set that right there. It's a little easier. So, for the little one. The little people first. And there's still plenty of noodles left. That's also the benefit to putting in the water. It prevents them from sticking to the pot. Plate 2, because I know she'd be liking my pasta. That's why I put her up with a bigger portion. Now, I like my garlic bread, so I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I'm about to have 4 slices. which is only one slice of bread, technically. Alright, so let me bring the camera down so y'all can get a closer look. Alright, plated. Chef on a budget, eat your way healthy. Andrew said, thing is, you gotta remember D is showing you how to cook on a budget, which is everything is higher now, so it's a way to make, right, exactly. Good food at a good price and cooked by a chef. And yes, my homegirl lives in the hood. Yes, we having little visitors. Another reason I'm so OCD. So yeah, up front. The one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna sanitize, clean. I'm gonna show you how to be sanitary. I'm gonna show you about food safety. I'm gonna show you how to cook. I'm gonna show you the price. And then I'm gonna show you how much you realize you can cook like a chef on a budget and it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. And right before I eat, all I gotta do is pull up the saran wrap and toss it out, and it's still clean. But the main reason I do it is so that when I'm prepping, if I drop anything, I can still use it. I don't ever prep or cook, like anything that I prep on my cutting board, I never do it on the bare counter. I just don't. So yeah, this is tonight's dinner. Ground turkey spaghetti, old school garlic bread. This entire meal was less than $10, and it's enough, as you can see, for a family. Or again, if you're single, it's enough for you to eat off of for at least 2 or 3 days. So I'm about to eat, y'all. I'm about to eat. But thank everybody for tuning in. And thank you, Andrew. Sandy Becker, thank you for tuning in. She said, love the plates. Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm at one of my homegirls' place, so this is her stuff. But I'm here to cook like a chef, do on a budget, make it taste good, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And as you guys can see, it didn't take a whole lot of time, even with my perfectionism and OCD-ness. And you see, I clean as I go. Don't have a whole bunch of mess. Even over here. So, again, you're going to learn a lot on my channel, Rocking with Chef D. So, Andrew said, probably first time I've seen it live. Thank you, Andrew. And a shout out to all my DzPeepz. Shout out to the people that recently subscribed. I just want to take a moment and thank all of y'all. There was a young lady that was making comments on my last live, and she joined the channel. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate when you guys leave the feedback. Feel free to leave feedback after this live. You know, give me your feedback. If there's something that you have a question about that you want, you know, to see me cook, or even if you want me to just jump on live and give you culinary advice. I am a culinary advisor. I've been working in kitchens my whole life since my mom started her catering business when I was 12. And I do my own event catering as well. I've worked in many restaurants. I've helped to open many restaurants. So I'm very good at what I do. And I want to bring it to my channel and help y'all too, because who can't possibly benefit from saving money while eating healthy, right? All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you, fam. Appreciate you guys. Love you, DzPeepz.